everybody, Christy from Happy and Healthy TV here with you guys on an episode of 100 Days of a Girl with Lyme documentary. Today is day 21, filming a video just about every day in honor of Lyme Disease Awareness Month, which, as most of you guys know, is obviously the month of May. Excuse me. So, today, Lyme in the news. So, an article came out today published by the Institute for Next Generation Healthcare, which is affiliated with Mt Sinai Hospital in New York. Little sidebar there. Always said I'm lucky to grow up in New York because the opportunities to meet people are just amazing. I've gotten to meet a lot of really phenomenal people in my life, including Dr. Richard Horowitz, who was introduced as from a colleague of mine, and somebody who had treated my Lyme the first couple of years I got sick and pretty much saved my life. Anyway, what was interesting with this article is that Mt Sinai is now more or less acknowledging chronic Lyme exists, which is, a good thing for us Lymies. We want to make sure awareness is being brought up. So I figured, let me go through this article today. As always, I'll post a link to the article down below in the description box, and we can go ahead and do that. I guess Precious is going to join me for filming today. You see her head poking in and out of the screen here, so we'll just bear with her hanging out with us. Anyway, so I'll read the article and I'll do a little summary on it for you, give you my thoughts, my opinions on it as I usually do, and you guys can comment below on your thoughts and opinions. So the article goes to be titled as, let's see, the Institute for Next Generation Healthcare opens Lyme disease experience booth to the public at Mt Sinai Hospital. Sorry about that, guys. So, this is pretty interesting. The fully immersive booth will be available to former and existing Lyme disease patients, caregivers, researchers, and clinicians for 3 weeks, providing a platform to share their stories during Lyme Disease Awareness Month. So, New York, May 13th, 2019. This is Globe Newswire put this out. The Institute for Next Generation Healthcare, also known as INGH, at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mt Sinai, announced today that they will be showcasing its innovative Lyme disease experience booth at the Annenberg building of the Mt Sinai Hospital, located at 1468 Madison Avenue, New York, from May 13th to 31st. The booth, which was initially unveiled in October 2018 at INGH's third annual Lyme Mind Conference, was created to drive awareness of Lyme disease and provide the public and the scientific community with a better understanding of the physical and mental toll of this disease. Designed to feel like a comfortable room within your own home, current and former Lyme patients, their caregivers, family members, researchers, doctors, and academics sit down for a one-on-one interview with the booth's interface and share their own individual experience. So you get to share your experience on this interface. I'll get back to that. The high-quality video interviews are provided to the participants so that they can share their experience with their own networks and communities. Some of these experiences may then be shared at the 4th Annual Lyme Mind Conference on October 19, 2019, to showcase the challenges of living with Lyme. Additionally, all the footage will be used by INGH's research team to better understand the human experience of Lyme disease and identify effective approaches to support patients. Our goal with the Lyme Mind Stories and Experience booth is to provide a platform where people who have been impacted by Lyme disease can share their unique story and bring awareness to some of the lesser-known aspects of Lyme of the disease, said Savvy Glow, Director of Strategy and Operations at the Institute for Next Generation Healthcare. Quote, the symptoms of Lyme disease are often complex and can vary from patient to patient. The research and clinical communities, too, are faced with many challenges understanding the biology, diagnosis, and treatment of this infection. With this booth and the interviews we collect, we're aiming to raise awareness for prevention. Wow, I should put my glasses on. Demystify and destigmatize patient experience, and illuminate the innovations happening in research and clinical care, end quote. The Lyme Disease Experience booth will be installed at the Annenberg building from Monday, May 13th until Friday, May 31st. Visitors who wish to share their experiences can stop by anytime between 9 to 5 p.m. Does not indicate if they're open on weekends. I'm actually going to call to check on that because I just want to go ahead and participate in this. About the Institute for Next Generation Healthcare. The Institute for Next Generation Healthcare at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai is a new model of research, innovation, and market delivery founded in 2016 to expedite and help share the impending revolution in healthcare. INGH is committed to building a new model of healthcare innovation and delivery by transforming our definition of health and accelerating new discoveries, technologies, and platforms to make the future of medicine a reality today. Positioned at the nexus of rapid advances in diagnostic technologies, digital health tools, and artificial intelligence, INGH aims to better use technology to empower patients, improve care, support physicians, and move away from the traditional model of healthcare as sick care. I'm so going back to comment on that. Our broad interdisciplinary, oh my God, I can always say this word and can't say it tonight. Symptom of Lyme disease. I stutter. Our broad interdisciplinary, thank you, view of health is grounded in the belief that patient engagement and behavior change are central to the mission of health optimization. Our objective is to intervene upstream from disease, developing predictive, diagnostic, and therapeutic technologies that move us away from reactive to proactive medicine. That is such a big thing. I've always said in business and my private practice, you want to be proactive. You don't want to be reactive. For example, I don't want to be constantly reacting to problems. I want to, premeditate what kind of issues, just like with anything, whether it's in business, whether it's parenting, whether it is in relationships. You always want to be proactive versus, reactive. That's always been important to me. So I love, guys, INGH's viewpoint here. Let me comment also on sick care versus well care, versus healthcare versus sick care. There are so many studies and documentation that are out there, including my first book, the IBD Healing Plan and Recipe book, in addition to my fourth book, the Lyme Disease Healing Plan, which will be out later this year. I talk about this a lot. I hate to say this, and again, this is no offense to any, I always have to use this disclaimer because it is very true. This is no offense to anybody who's in healthcare who truly, genuinely is trying to help a patient. I think that that's the reason we get into healthcare. Obviously, we want to help people. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a practitioner as well, obviously, as I'm including myself with this. My concern had always been that our system, growing up having undiagnosed Crohn's disease, for example, from the time I was 9 up until I was 19, was sick as a dog on and off throughout my life, not understanding why I always had issues with my stomach. And I shared this story in my first book, the IBD Healing Plan and Recipe book. My mother took me to so many doctors. My God, it was so difficult to try to get a diagnosis for Crohn's at that particular time. I had my first flare-up, I think when I was 12. It was misdiagnosed as intestinal flu. And then later in my early college years, I got really sick, and that, cascaded into me being sick for several years while continuing to work full-time and going to school full-time as always. But it was challenging. I had to go out on disability for a short period of time back in the early 2000s, and man, I'm not happy about that. I'm in the prime of my life, and really wanted to just further my career and get my show on the road, so to speak. I realized along the way with that particular journey, with Crohn's, and then later having achieved remission with using nutrition, that unfortunately, even though I had a great gastro doctor who had awesome bedside manner, who I respect highly, who I would certainly even still refer patients to, unfortunately, the only thing he knew was to treat this particular illness with medication. And, that's what doctors are trained in. This is why we have doctors, we have nutritionists, we have naturopaths, we have all different acupuncture, we have all different entities in medicine that we can utilize. The problem with the United States in particular is that we do focus our health system, our healthcare system, so to speak, has been labeled really as a sick care system. And when we say that, we're really speaking about how I hate to say this, the healthcare system right now, as it stands, it is changing, is designed to keep people sick. Um, for example, you go to your doctor and they'll tell you to take a particular medication. You wind up with a side effect to said medication, and then they've got you on like 15 other medications to cover up the side effect from the one you were taking to begin with originally. That's one part of it. The other piece of it, and this is where I kind of come in with the training I have had, is okay, let's look at a situation and not per se treat this, this health concern with medication. Let's work on natural solutions. I was trained to know that there are a multitude, a plethora, if you will, of different treatment modalities that work before you would want to use drugs. Obviously, if it's a life or death situation, yeah, drugs can save somebody's life. I'm not saying that that's not the case. But to keep somebody on a drug for a prolonged period of time, it's just keeping the person sick. I'll give you a primary example of this. If you look at my health records, which is like the Encyclopedia Britannica or phone book at this point in time, one of the things that I was found interesting was, it lists I have POTS syndrome, post-orthostatic tachycardia syndrome from Lyme, shows that is active. It then also later shows I do have tachycardia. It shows it's resolved. My tachycardia is not resolved. If I stop taking the beta blocker that I'm on, that I want to throw out of a window, that I don't want to be taking, my BPM goes up into the 200s. So does that mean the issue is resolved? No, it's not resolved. It's still there. It's just being masked by a drug. And that's where I like to talk about something called the Band-Aid approach. We like to put a Band-Aid on things and just, okay, I took this drug for it and, the situation is better now. That's not the case. So that's what we refer to as sick care. Unfortunately, we have a healthcare system that is designed to keep people sick. And again, I'm not speaking of all practitioners. That is absolutely not the case. I've worked with many practitioners who do not believe in that particular model and are doing everything they can to integrate what we call functional medicine or functional nutrition or things like functional neuro. There are so many different other entities, and really that's a wave of the way that medicine is going into functional medicine, which is looking at the whole body. It's looking at the mind-body connection. It is looking at the possibility of using or utilizing, diet, exercise, less screen time, less exposure to toxins, just, things that we know that we're supposed to be doing. So I really have to applaud the Institute for Next Generation Healthcare. And again, being in New York, again, more of a progressive state when it comes to, let's look at the whole person. Of course, you're going to see doctors that don't believe that, when they're just pulling out a prescription pad or, now electronically doing it, and they're not paying attention. So sick care versus health care is definitely an issue in this particular country. We could get a lot more patients better and a lot more people better if we were more focused on health as opposed to being sick. And I think the focus there, even when you're looking at it from a mind-body connection, somebody constantly telling you you're sick over and over again is very depressing. You want to be in more of a environment that's conducive to healing. So I think that that's important in a more positive environment. I think that's why I enjoy working at my private practice so much, because I'm around a bunch of positive people all day who truly believe that, we can get people well, and we do. The happiest thing for me in my job is when I actually get to politely kick a patient out of the practice and say, hey, you've graduated from our program. You don't need me anymore. Certainly if you do need me, I'm always here. But at the same time, that means I got the person better. I'd much rather get a person better and then take a new patient on, as opposed to, why would I want to have a job where I constantly have a patient who's not getting well? So that's important. Going back up to obviously commenting on this article, since it's on Lyme and not about, sick care versus healthcare in this country. I think that this booth is a great idea. If you are in the New York area, if you can get down, this is, again, not just for patients, but it's for caregivers, it's for researchers, it's for clinicians. So if you fall into any of those genres of people, I would highly recommend to go up to this booth. From what this is stating here, and I'm going to call and find out more information on this, I can go ahead and make a little report on this for you guys and let you know what this interface looks like. I'm presuming it's something like a tablet, where it's recording you and you can explain your Lyme disease experience. And again, this will be used later on this year in October at the Lyme Mind Conference. And I think this would be great because researchers are looking at, again, what are the different experiences people have with Lyme, and maybe what are the treatments that somebody's had, what worked, what didn't work. This is all awesome for research purposes. This is awesome for treatment purposes. The more information we have, what do we always say? Knowledge is power. The more we know, the better off we are. Sometimes I think as a practitioner it can go against you a bit, but certainly for research purposes and helping out those with Lyme, caregivers who maybe, I was commenting on this the other day, caregivers who don't really understand the ramifications of Lyme or what it can do. And this is looking at both physical and mental health issues. Lyme is a whirlwind of symptoms, and as this article is stating, it can be complex depending on what's going on. And we always talk about that throughout interviews. So I think that that's very important to bring up. And I'm really, really applauding Mount Sinai for this. I think that this is fantastic. Columbia University, my school where I graduated from, or one of the schools I graduated from, has a tick-borne research program going on. There is a large cost to it. This is not something that requires any fees or anything like that from what I can see from this article here. I certainly will double check that and retract it later if there's an issue on this video. If you're interested in this, you can check out the person who's doing the marketing and PR for this. Her name is Kate Caruso Sharp. She's with Fish Tank Marketing and PR, so I guess, this was through Global Newswire, so that's why they're listing her information. You can call her at 646-699-1534. I would presume you could also call, I'm sure I would do this, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Call the Institute for Next Generation Healthcare over at Mount Sinai. I will post the number below once I've gone ahead and taken the time to go ahead and edit this video. So this way you guys have that information if you're interested in visiting this booth. And I will also include in the description as I find out if the booth is indeed open on weekends. Right now it just says 9 to 5. It does not say if it is open over the weekend. So again, excuse me, guys, I apologize. So I think this is really great. There's been something new in the news every day about Lyme for this month. At least, oh my goodness, sorry, guys. At least one article every day that I've seen that's come up, and there's a lot of really good ones. A closing note for this. This is off the topic of this particular interface system that was set up at Mount Sinai. CDC just released another report today. I got an article on this that for sure by 2020 there will be an estimated new figure of cases, and it is over 2 million people with Lyme disease. So yeah, I'm so glad that places like Mount Sinai are paying attention to this, because man, it's a lot of people. 2 million people may not seem like a lot, but compared to Crohn's disease, actually about 1 million people, a little over 1 million people, based on stats from 2012. So I'm sure that's gone up since I wrote my first book. But all right, so probably around the same amount of people have Crohn's disease. People are treated for that. Come on now, but it does remind me of, again, when I was a kid and people weren't being treated for it. Look at something like AIDS, that was not being treated. There are a lot of different illnesses that at one point in time or another were not being treated. So I mean, you've got numbers up in the 2 millions, and again, that's a conservative estimate since the testing is inaccurate as we now know it. Yeah, that's a lot. So even the CDC is acknowledging there's a problem. I'm so glad that there are places that are doing something about it. So, yay for progress going on. I'm excited to see any progress that goes on with this particular illness, both for myself and others who suffer from it, caregivers, clinicians, researchers, because, let's face it. If you've been dealing with this for a while, we're all a little frustrated. And we just want justice, we want rights, and we just want to get better. And, somebody like myself, in particular, I had a lot of stuff I want to still do. My career is not done yet. I've had an awesome career and expect to continue the awesome. I quote unquote, as I say, benched right now. But yeah, I think there are a lot of people that would just like to go back to their lives and be able to do that and just at least have some sort of normalcy. And this hopefully will be able to provide researchers with enough information. So I encourage you guys to get down to that booth. If you're in the New York City or the greater New York City area, take the time out to, just spend a short period of time getting this squared away. All right, everybody. So I'm done with my chatterbox for this evening. Precious has decided to lay down beside me. She's funny. She should be like my co-anchor in these little videos here. She's so cute. She just got up because she was like summoned. It's funny. I say her name and she pops up. Anyway, I hope that everybody has a great night or a great day. If you have any questions or comments on this, please leave them below in the comment box. Hit subscribe if you're interested in hearing more about Lyme disease, and I will start putting up more nutrition-oriented for the general public videos. I, again, dedicated this month to Lyme Awareness Month. Some vitamin M videos. I have been working on getting some practicing done, so I've got a couple really cool college songs that I've been messing with, and just got some sheet music for that. So, by June, I should be able to put out a video on that. I am just focused on Lyme for Lyme Awareness Month. All right, everybody. Have a great night or day. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.